Today, approximately half of the world population live in urban cities, which serve as an engine of economic growth for a country, as well as for the surrounding regions. The 21st century, therefore, is sometimes expressed as the era of cities. The city of Yokohama, the second largest city in Japan, has also experienced urbanization since the 1950s, overcoming a variety of urban issues associated with the shift. Let's look at the history of their dynamic transformation. Pushed by the development of Tokyo after World War II, neighboring Yokohama started urbanization originally as Tokyo's bedroom town. The result was a drastic increase in population, which led to extensive disorderly construction of housing, as well as factories and plants throughout the city. This led to a serious lack of economic and social infrastructures, as well as pollution and other urban issues. To solve these issues and create a both economically and environmentally sustainable city, the city of Yokohama established a plan for a series of strategic projects within its long-term development plan. What kind of strategy was this? The most important example is the package of the 6 strategic projects, which was announced in 1965. It was the first dynamic development project proactively planned by a city government under the strong leadership of the Yokohama mayor at the time. First, the city focused on strengthening its economic base, including the Minato Mirai 21 district at the waterfront. The City Center Enhancement Project relocated shipyards and factories out of the waterfront and rejuvenated the area into a business and commercial hub. The Kanazawa Reclamation Project created a designated industrial zone to which factories scattered across densely populated areas were encouraged to relocate, and the old factory sites were utilized for public use. The living environment of the city was thus improved significantly. The Kohoku New Town was created as a functional, comfortable-to-live residential zone. The project controlled the spread of disorderly housing construction by private developers and also demonstrated new approaches in housing developments. Residents were invited to participate in the development planning and work together with the government staff and the developers, reflecting people's opinions from the early stage of the project. The transportation networks, including urban railways, expressways, and the Bay Bridge, were designed and built to ensure the connectivity between these city centers and residential suburbs. The Bay Bridge, which is a monumental icon of the waterfront zone, is also serving to segregate the cargo traffic from the harbor areas, including the Kanazawa coast, that used to pass through the congested inland roads. These 6 projects were truly strategic undertakings that were able to produce synergy among each other. Some of these projects were actually implemented by the national government and other public organizations. It was unusual in those days for a city government to proactively design and propose plans which involved national projects. But Yokohama actively approached the national government for coordination, believing that city leaders should take a lead in its development planning as they worked closer with the people. The city also repeatedly discussed these projects with the people and the city council, some of which had opposed the plan, claiming it was unrealistic considering the overall scale. These processes have actually formed the foundation for the Yokohama-style urban planning, which encouraged public participation in almost every aspect. How specifically did Yokohama work with other stakeholders and other national agencies? To control the disorderly housing developments by private developers, the city established its original ordinances before the national regulations were set in place. Yokohama requested housing developers to build sewage systems together with housing, as well as securing spaces for public facilities such as schools and parks. This method actually also benefited the developers, as availability of good infrastructure attracted more people to move into the new residential areas. For preventing pollution, the city asked private firms to sign on to the agreement to cooperate with the city's anti-pollution measures. This facilitated companies to innovate cleaner technologies, which improved the city's urban environment. In order to manage the increasing amount of solid waste, Yokohama initiated the G30 plan, which aimed for reducing waste generation by 30%, calling out to citizens and companies to specifically sort out their garbage to enable more recycling. The goal was achieved 5 years ahead of schedule, thanks to the dedicated efforts made by citizens and companies. The number of incinerators was reduced and the usable age of existing landfills was prolonged, saving the city a large amount of budgetary expenses. To mitigate the global warming issue, the city is working on a wide-scale experiment on energy management systems in collaboration with innovative private firms and utilizing the supporting funds from the national government. Under the Yokohama Smart City project, private firms and approximately 2,000 households are participating in the demonstration experiments on a demand response program. Through collaboration with the people, companies, and the national government, Yokohama is introducing new green solutions for the next generation. Now in the 21st century, the city of Yokohama continues its innovations to cope with newly arising urban issues, including an aging society, lack of a support system for women's participation in business, and childcare. The city administration has shown strong leadership in a variety of its urban management programs. They have been making efforts in organizing different stakeholders, indicating a long-term direction and proceeding under a consistent policy. It has also participated in international cooperation with emerging cities in collaboration with related agencies. Yokohama continues to engage in its Y-Port project, or the International Technical Assistance Program, for sharing its technologies and experiences by means of a public-private partnership. Within the last decade, Yokohama has made a significant and sustainable development, with various large firms moving in, and many international conventions and events have been held in the city. Yokohama will share this experience and expertise globally, and let us work together to achieve sustainability and livability in this era of cities. JICA, as a partner, is also committed to continue its support for bringing solutions for urban issues around the world.